I see an insane amount of manifesting content on this app and you're not manifesting correctly or you're not doing it with all the ingredients. So like and save this so that you can watch it in the future to remind yourself. But manifesting is so much more than just using your God-given creative power and abilities to make the future happen that you want. If you're just thinking about becoming a millionaire or buying a mansion or whatever, that's just positive thinking. Now, there's a lot of benefits to positive thinking. You should definitely do it, but that's not enough to manifest the future that you want. You need to enact the power of momentum, okay? So Nikola Tesla talks about if you understand the power of 369, you unlock the mysteries of the universe. Another mystery of the universe is you can see these Fibonacci spirals everywhere. These spirals will teach you so much about momentum. Let me give you an example. So a couple of years back, I was completely depressed. I was in the worst position of my life, like thinking about, you know what? I was running a tech company, it raised millions of dollars. My portfolio was worth millions, and I was so unhappy because I didn't have a purpose that was fulfilling. Meditation and breath work and plant medicine completely changed my life. One of the hacks that I was doing after that is mouth taping at night. It's insane. Completely changed my mental health, completely changed the restfulness when I wake up, my facial structure, the quality of my sleep, so many benefits. And so one day I was doing a meditation saying like, I want to spend the rest of my life focusing on something that I care about, okay? And I was thinking about this mouth tape and I was like, you know what? We can build a cool brand around this. We can make it more affordable. We can do all these cool things. Well, we just got a product a week ago. And if I was just sitting there this entire time as I'm manifesting what this brand can become, thinking like this is going to become a $10 million company while doing nothing, nothing's going to happen, okay? Nothing's going to happen. We haven't even sold a single box. So once we got it, it was like, okay, how do we get this listed on TikTok Shop and how do we sell one? Once we sold one, it's like, how do we sell 2 a day? Once we were selling 2 a day, it's how do we sell 4 a day? The last 4 days, we've been selling around 15 plus per day. Okay, that's a big jump. So now all of my manifestations, that power, that thought energy is going into how do I get this to 30 units a day? What do I need to do? How many videos do I need to make? How do I get this in front of the right people? The focus is always A to B, B to C, C to D, so on and so forth, and eventually you'll get to Z. You need to build momentum. Just like that Fibonacci spiral, the more momentum you build, you get to that destination at the end. The reason why I'm making this is I want you guys to feel fulfilled. I want you building the life that you want to build. I want everybody to be happy. But if you're just manifesting or if you can just see the happiness, just understand that that is step 1. Step 2 is breaking that into bite-sized milestones and figuring out what you need to do, because manifesting is just going to get you the opportunities in your life. It is up to you to take advantage of those opportunities and make them happen. So build out those milestones. Focus on taking them one down, one at a time. You will build momentum, and it is insane how soon you'll see success.
Project Bluebeam. By far the scariest years we may see. This conspiracy achieved its status in 1994 by a book that was written by Serge Monast. In the book, the writer describes how the United Nations, in collaboration with NASA's technology, will unite the whole world under a new false religion. But how? There will be, supposedly, an alien invasion, which is all part of the whole show, of course. And one day, a hero, a god, will come from the skies and destroy these aliens. And us, human beings, we will not believe our own eyes and start to worship this god. Whatever this god orders will happen. One world order. This is called the Project Bluebeam. Now, I don't believe that they have the technology that is capable of deceiving us yet, but in the near future, they might very well be able to make them. If you are a Muslim or a Christian, this whole show must ring a bell. This is the person we have been warned about more than 1,000 years ago. If this happens, this is the Dajjal, the Antichrist. Be prepared.
Thanks, everybody. I'm Wendy Bell. You know, it's stunning to monitor the media's lack of interest in the whole Maui story. I've been in this business for 30 years. I'm stunned, but I'm not surprised. The dots are connecting. And coincidence seems to be the story here, right? But the true story, the media knows it is not allowed to tell. But I can. Is it a coincidence that the Maui police chief is the same man who was in charge in Las Vegas during that massacre that killed 58 people? Is it a coincidence that the Maui property, owned by million and billionaires, it wasn't touched by the flames while homes of the locals all burned? Was it a coincidence that the flames traveled across hundreds of feet of pavement and crossed a 4-lane highway with emergency shoulders to jump into the ocean and then burn all the boats? Was it a coincidence that the largest system of outdoor emergency sirens in the world never made a sound as the fire devoured Lahaina? Was it a coincidence that at the same time, very same time, all the water was turned off? Was it a coincidence that police were ordered to block off streets and to funnel all the cars trying to escape onto one road where that firestorm incinerated entire families? How about the coincidence that the governor of Hawaii, Josh Green, just weeks before that inferno, signed a pledge to the UN's 2030 Agenda of Sustainable Development, pledging to eliminate emissions? Weird. And think about this coincidence. That governor also signed an emergency proclamation on July 17th, 3 weeks before the fire, about housing of all things, and suspended 7 state statutes protecting historic preservation laws, removing all of the red tape when it comes to building infrastructure. Coincidentally, the coincidence that the government put up a black fence around Lahaina, or that the FAA grounded all drones from flying over the affected areas? Is it a coincidence that since at least 2011, there have been plans to make Maui the first smart city run by 100% renewable energy, and that coincidentally, 2 of the 3 largest landowners on Maui are BlackRock and the U.S. government, and that both are part of the UN's agenda? It must be a coincidence, then, that the locals whose homes did not burn are now being evicted from their property. And, of course, a total coincidence that all the fact checkers who are checking these facts, who say everything I just told you is just a coincidence, are also owned and run by BlackRock. Thank goodness none of these coincidences is connected.
To what looks like rob my house, but it actually turns out he is a time traveler. Let me show you that. I literally can't even make this up. Like, if I if I wanted to make this up, it blows my mind. This just happened yesterday. So as you can see, he's wandering around my backyard. I don't know what he's trying to do. Now he's like thinking like where to go, and he actually ends up going into my shed. So you see, he opens it, goes into the shed. So I'm fast forwarding the time so you can see there's no movement. He never leaves the shed. And I'm talking on the camera. I'm like, yo, what are you doing? Why are you in my shed? Never answers. He never leaves the shed. I literally was watching it the whole time. So I end up calling the police. You can see in the last one, the police coming through the front yard. And then here's the police coming into the backyard. And you can see they literally go inside. They go inside and I'm talking to them. Then they go inside again. Like they're inside there. And they come out and he's not there. And I've been watching this backdoor camera the whole entire time and he never left. I've really watched the camera the whole time. He never left. Police didn't see him in there. And like, it blows my mind. Like, I don't know if there's a tunnel in my shed in the backyard. I don't know if he teleported. I don't know where this guy went or why he went in that shed. Let me know what you think because I'm like perplexed. Flabbergasted. I have an update regarding the time traveler that went into my shed and disappeared. And this is gonna blow a lot of people's minds. And if you're still denying that this is real at this point, this is gonna change your mind. So just a quick recap. This guy walks around my backyard, goes to my shed, opens the door, goes inside, and disappears. Called the cops came, they went in the shed twice. He wasn't in there. They looked, I looked like an insane guy. The cops are like, what is this guy smoking? And you can see he never came back until the next day right here. Notification on my camera that there's somebody in my backyard and this guy leaves my shed. And he looks right at the camera too. That guy left my shed. But here's the craziest part. This looks like the same guy, maybe, glasses, whatever. Let's look at the other guy. This was the other guy. He noticeably aged. Looks like the same guy, but aged. So him again, and now him. Same facial features, whiter hair. So I don't even know what to think at this point. Somebody explain this. He literally left the same shed. You saw the camera I put before. There was no movement that whole night. Then the next day, this guy leaves the shed, looks right at the camera like he knows, and he looks noticeably older. I don't know, something's going on. Somebody explain what's going on in my shed. I'll be going there in about a week to give a tour, since a lot of people are asking. But yeah, it's crazy. Like, I don't even know what to think. Did he time travel? Is this a different person? Who is this new guy? Is it the same guy? Let me know what you think, because this blew my mind.
Tonight, a News Nation exclusive. The teenager who made that 911 call is finally speaking publicly at length and laying out exactly what he saw that night and what has happened since.
What do you remember about that night? What do you remember seeing?
Start again, I guess. We were in the backyard fixing a truck, and then out of nowhere we just see a big light fall down and basically crash in the backyard. And moments after, like a couple seconds after, I saw the big giant creature in front of me. The alien, whatever you guys want to call it. The alien, demon, whatever you guys want to call it.
What do you believe it is?
A demon.
A demon?
Yeah.
So maybe that's changed, that once you thought it was an alien, now you believe it was a demon.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what it is, only God knows what it was. But I'm thinking it's like something bad, not a good thing.
Was it moving? Was it doing?
Yes, it was moving. You could see like he was breathing, like he was like pissed off, like he wanted to do something.
And he was looking at you and your brother?
He was looking at me, yeah.
Did he say anything?
Mm-mm. Well, I remember he was growling like a dog, like he was growling.
When did it end?
As soon as I closed my eyes, I guess. I don't know. I think I was praying or something like that, and they just let me go. That's when I went inside, and I saw my dad. I mean, I saw it too.
It felt like it had a control of your body?
Oh yeah, I couldn't move. Yeah.
You were paralyzed at the sight of this thing.
Yeah, I couldn't move.
And you were looking at it for 30 or so seconds, and then all of a sudden it was gone.
Yeah. That was pretty creepy.
A lot of people think that that's just hard to believe.
That, like I said again, they can think whatever they want.
What do you say to the people who believe that your family just made this whole thing up to try to get attention?
They can believe whatever they want, I'm not doing it for free. If I did it for fame, I would be on YouTube and stuff like that, doing more videos, but I don't care, guys. I just went on TikTok and YouTube, made my story. That's pretty much it. I made no money off this. I want people to know that I made no money off this. I don't need money. That's pretty much it. They can believe whatever they want.
I bet you hope it doesn't happen to anybody.
Oh, no, hopefully not, no. I hope God, no. Really bad experience. Really traumatizing.
And Ashley, I don't know what your impression of him was, but when I was speaking to him personally, I was really struck by how confident and authentic he was about his memories of that night. There's a lot of people obviously out there in the world that would make up ghost stories in order to chase any sort of clout or fame. But to me, Angel came across as somebody who truly believed that he saw something that night in that backyard right here behind me.
Yeah, Alex, he didn't really seem to have canned answers either. So if this was all a big ruse, he's either a really, really good actor, I mean, Meryl Streep quality, and, he certainly didn't script it, didn't seem to plan out answers, at the grasp.
The most famous story in all of history is for some reason looked on as a made-up myth. Can we prove if the Great Flood actually happened? This is history. Shit happens. People, typically the victors, record what happens. Future generations read those records and accept them as fact. The more often a certain event gets recorded, especially among cultures that had no influence among each other, the more likely it is that it actually happened. Starting with the most popular book in the world, the Bible, with the story of Noah's Ark. The world gets flooded, and man is told by God to build a giant ship to save every animal on the planet and rebuild civilization from scratch. Hindu mythology has the story of Manu, who's warned of an impending worldwide flood, builds a boat to survive, and keeps humans from going extinct. Ancient Mesopotamia shares the Epic of Gilgamesh, which was allegedly written before the Bible, where a guy is told a global flood is coming, builds a vessel to save humanity. In Greek mythology, Zeus gets angry, floods the earth, Prometheus helps a man and his wife build a boat and restart civilization. Chinese legends have the Great Flood of Gunyu. Mayans had the civilization resetting flood of the god Huracan. The Incas from South America that predate the Mayans had the Ulu Pachacuti, a great flood that wiped out a race of unruly people. Native American tribes tribes all had their own versions of a great flood that cleansed the earth. Polynesian cultures have the story of Niu'u, who built an ark and sea gods flooding the earth, among many other similar tales. African cultures have a variety of flood myths with the same thematic elements. Even Aboriginal Australians have legends like the Bundaba flood with the exact same story arc, all of which end with select chosen ones surviving the flood and rebuilding society on Earth. Dude, these stories of floods are obviously just made up myths that all coincidentally share the same plot. If they were real, they'd be in my history textbook. We're not allowed to question history, bro. We obviously already know everything. Well, it's a good thing they didn't just find an archaeological site in the shape of a massive ship in a similar location and age as some of the recorded flood stories. Oh wait, they did. Uncovered in Turkey. 3D scans done on site revealed a man-made structure beneath, with remains of wood in the shape of a boat and measurements similar to that of the flood myths, along with fossilized rivets and petrified deck timber, materials typically only used to build boats. Then you have countless places around the world with geological evidence of immense flooding, hundreds of times more powerful than any water flow we've ever witnessed. You've got the Kamas Prairie in Idaho, the Dry Falls Formation in Washington, and Dry Creek in Montana have landscapes that were carved with water flows 10 to 20 times greater than every single river on Earth combined. Intense water erosion around the Sphinx in Egypt. The Sahara Desert is filled with these ripples, potentially indicative of colossal, widespread flooding. Same with Warburton Creek in Australia, which has even got salt deposits. Geologists found evidence of intense flooding along the Yellow River in China. Aerial scans reveal monumental flood progression throughout all of South America. Fossils of fish found as high as the Himalayan mountains, all of which has only become visible to us within the last 100 years through technology like satellites. So maybe historians are just too stubborn to rewrite their books after clinging to them for so long. This all leads to what is called the Younger Dryas Impact Theory, a proposed global event that caused significant shifts in human culture around 11,000 BC. I mean, it's clearly not 100% proven, just speculation with a mountain of evidence, which is in a sense what all of history is. None of us were there when any of this happened, so we have to look at historic records, archaeology, and geological evidence and make rational conclusions from that. But you Google debunkers, feel free to stitch this into your own little debunking video, because I invite all perspectives on every topic. The question remains, why would they even want to hide historic discoveries like this? I don't know about you, but I feel like the idea of an inevitable civilization resetting global cataclysm wouldn't sit well with anyone and likely cause worldwide anarchy. Even billionaire John D. Rockefeller, who funded the General Education Board in 1903, is infamously quoted as saying, "I don't want a nation of thinkers. I want a nation of workers." So when you have countless retellings of the same story spanning multiple cultures around the world who never made contact with each other, archaeological evidence that may or may not be remnants of artifacts from these stories, and geological patterns that align with the events that took place in these stories, it's obviously just a myth. Yet not a single record of the Egyptians actually building the pyramids themselves, easily the greatest achievement of their civilization. And somehow that's a historical fact, but this isn't. What do I know? I'm just a dumb online misinformation theorist, right? I prefer to quote Einstein instead. Education is not the learning of facts, but the training of the mind to think.
Another whistleblower just unexpectedly passed away, and this is about to get swept under the rug again. I don't understand how no one is talking about this right now. The first man that passed away was working for Boeing for 32 years and unexpectedly passed away due to self-inflicted wounds days after his lawsuit against Boeing. Now, just a few days ago, a man named Joshua Dean, a former auditor of a Boeing supplier, suddenly died from an illness. This man was said to be in good health and had a very healthy lifestyle, and he was only 45 years old. But listen to this. Dean filed a complaint with the Labor Department alleging that he was fired for raising concerns with the safety of these aircrafts. So two men who decided to actually speak up about the safety concerns about the production of these aircrafts did something about it, and then they both unexpectedly passed away. And still, no one's reporting about it.
So there was a man who just set himself on fire outside of the courthouse where Trump is starting his trial, and they are already trying to call him a conspiracy theorist, and his whole manifesto is online. I have already gone through his entire manifesto since he just set himself on fire not even 40 minutes to an hour ago, and I feel like I need to get in front of the story before they try to deem this a conspiracy theorist related idea. Not only did he say he was going to do it, he left a step-by-step on his own website. Literally look at the title of this. It says apparent conspiracy theorist sets himself on fire outside of Trump trial. A man who set himself on fire outside of court moments after a jury was seated in former President Trump's civil fraud trial apparently promoted wide-ranging conspiracy theorists. This is the man. I am going to read to you his manifesto. And the thing about it is, how many people have you seen in the news being killed or killing themselves because of conspiracy theory? I feel like we need to pay attention. If the news is saying something is a conspiracy, it's probably not. I have a feeling they're gonna try to take his manifesto down. So here is the link at the bottom if you wanna hurry up and go read it, but I'm gonna tell you what it is. So he released this right before he killed himself. And the title is I Have Set Myself on Fire Outside the Trump Trial. My name is Max. I can't pronounce that. And he says, I am an investigative researcher who has set himself on fire outside of the Trump trial in Manhattan. This extreme act of protest is to draw attention to an urgent and important discovery. You guys, he did this to call attention to this. He said, we are victims of a totalitarian kind, and our own government, along with many of our other allies, is about to hit us with an apocalyptic fascist world coup. He even said that they would call this a conspiracy theory. He said, there are proof of conspiracy. If you investigate this mountain of research, you will prove them too. If you learn a great deal about Ponzi schemes, you will discover that our life is a lie. If you follow the story in the link below, you will discover the rotten truth of post-truth America. I don't have time to go through all of this, but just look at what he says. He talks about Bitcoin, right? And then he says the March 2023 bank failures were all intentional. The banks were used to move out stolen Ponzi money, which he's referring to Bitcoin, I'm assuming. And he said this signals that they are no longer dumping cash in to keep the cryptocurrency Ponzi afloat, and that it will still soon go insolvent, as all Ponzi's must. It says when the Ponzi scheme goes insolvent, it will take down half the stock market with it. The perpetrators use their major companies to pipe into the blockchain so they can funnel money out from the crypto exchanges. This includes Google, Tesla, Apple, PayPal, Facebook, Disney, Walmart, Target, Intel, Zoom, and countless others. It is a Ponzi scheme so large that it could create global inflation, which is why the price of Bitcoin has been remarkably leading the indicator for inflation rates. Victims who bought Bitcoin don't realize their money has already been stolen, so their money gets doubly counted by the victims and the criminals who stole. I'm gonna come back and keep reading it, but does that not make sense? Everyone is trying to figure out what's up with inflation and why we're sending money off. It's probably because of the cryptocurrency failure. I'll keep you guys updated.
There may be some truth to this, but I'm convinced at this point in time that the reason that they're sending all this money and stuff overseas is they're trying to devalue the US dollar so they can usher in this digital currency. I think that's where we're headed right now.
They're taking this down like crazy. Watch. Look what they're researching.
Taken down. I'm not allowed to have a camera in here, and I had to put it in a very uncomfortable place to sneak it in here. I'm inside of a top secret government research facility. You can see the grates in the floors. There are grates in the ceilings. What these grates are for, they move air in very quickly, fresh air from
What
the
would they
outside,
need that for?
And they take it up to the roof. They pump it back outside after it's filtered, because without it, the air in here
Share
is
this.
contaminated very quickly. But if you still think they don't exist, why would they have research?
Yep, exactly.
Conspiracy time. I believe that some very heavily guarded secrets are located inside state and national parks. Hear me out. So I'm a supervisor at a state park. I have keys to almost every building. I have access code to almost every gate. I have access to places in the park that staff aren't allowed to go, and I have access to the park where general public is not allowed to go. You cannot fly drones over top this park, as well as many other parks. There is a very heavy undercover presence here, and I know that for a fact. There has been numerous times where large portions of the park were shut down due to archaeological reasons, and there has been numerous instances where certain parking lots were completely shut down and filled with National Guard and military vehicles. There are animals back here that are not supposed to be here. Like last year, I actually saw a lemur in the state park in Florida. There are reports of exotic animals that are not supposed to be here. When they're reported to us, we are told to tell them that is because there is exotic breeders just outside the park and sometimes those animals get out. Is that true? I don't know. Going down the rabbit hole in the state parks and out in the wilderness, there have been reports of staircases. Just random staircases out in the forest. Yeah, staircases. Leading to nowhere. Look it up. So yeah, I believe that there's things being hidden back here that they don't want us to know about. What are your thoughts?
The internet doesn't even exist. This video you're watching right now isn't real. The people you're interacting with in the comments don't exist. The people that like your videos, watch your videos, are all fake. Dead internet theory is real, and here is the proof. Dead internet theory is the theory that the internet is not even real anymore. Yes, it did used to be. Everybody that you interact with on social media did used to be real. It used to be a genuine thing. But it died, completely died, back in 2017, 2018. Meaning everything everything you see now, everybody you interact with, is fake. So what actually does this mean? So let's use Facebook as a key example right now because there's nuts stuff going on right there. There are these weird AI generated images going completely viral for no reason. Now if you look at these photos, as I say, getting loads of views, loads of likes, there's all strange people in the comments, which there is no way these people are real. Like the comments, the things people are saying are just completely random, nothing to do with what is actually going on in the photo or video. Like you've got Taylor Swift riding on a tortoise, like what's going on? Why would somebody comment, oh my god, amen? Makes no flipping sense, right? So we know all these posts are just general AI, but so are the people seeing it. So there is of course millions and millions of users on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, all the social platforms, so there's actually not. You see, the dead internet theory suggests that these are actually all bots. And now, yes, of course there is still people on social media, but nowhere near the amounts we're being told. Billions of users on TikTok, really? Random videos blowing up, sometimes you'll get loads of likes, loads of views, but people don't really comment all the time. That's because these people aren't actually real. Do you remember the .io games? You've got Slither.io and all of these games where you'd play against people online. Now these games you'd play against people on your phone or on your device, it'd be like you're playing against real people, right? Because you could interact, you could chat with them or whatever. But no, it's actually official that .io games, you weren't ever playing against anyone unless it was local multiplayer. And it went so far, they wanted you to believe so badly that you were playing against online real people that, you know, if you went on airplane mode or your Wi-Fi went off, it would go, oh, searching for connection, we can't play, there's no connection. But they weren't real. We know that was all bots. So why couldn't you play it offline? Because they wanted us to believe that. So what if the big companies, all of these mobile app companies, technology companies, they want us to think there's billions of people on the platforms interacting with our stuff, making us go viral, but it's not really happening. So half the people that probably watch this video won't even be real. Half the people videos you interact with might not be real. There are millions and millions and billions of bots creating accounts, creating content all over the platforms. These faceless channels, there might not be anyone behind them. So that's why.
Looks just like a little packet of inside of here, a device that it will scan the Wi-Fi network. Let's say I'm out front of your house. You have Ring cameras, because everybody knows what a Ring doorbell is.
Oh no.
So I would scan the network. I'd see, okay, this one is most likely this house, or this is a group of houses. And you can do this thing called a de-authentication attack. Select all the networks that you're receiving, which are going to be the houses around you. You send that de-authentication packet out to all of the devices, which then disconnects all of their cameras from the internet. And the crazy thing is the older Ring cameras, and I believe most of the new ones, they don't have a thing called local storage. Even when they lose internet connection, they don't store video. It's not the only purpose for this, but this one harmful de-authentication.
So pretty much with that, can you raise it up one more time? So pretty much with that device, can you show it like the inside of it? I want to see that one more time.
Yeah, sure.
With that device that looks like a pack of mints, you could pretty much disable Ring cameras from homes.
Yep, yeah, you can disable most Wi-Fi devices with it. Yeah, without jamming. So you're not actually jamming like I was just talking about. It's a different type of attack.
I'm at the Giza pyramid. I know it doesn't look like that because I'm too damn close to it. I wanted to show you something. And I didn't realize this, and I never read this in any, like, books. They never told me that these rocks, especially the ones on the bottom of the pyramid, are full of crustaceans. Literally chock full of crustaceans from the ocean. Anyways, all these giant stones here are literally pulled directly from the ocean. So some people are like, oh, they brought the rocks from here. No, this is directly from the ocean. So that adds another layer of mystery of like, how the hell did these people 7,000 years ago take these giant rocks from the bottom of the ocean and then bring them here? And then so many of them, like 2 million of them, right? I'm not joking, all of them are the same. They're all made with these crustaceans. It's full of stuff from like the earth. Isn't that crazy? Why is that not in the history books? Why does it say that they come from this quarry somewhere? That's not from a quarry. That is from the ocean. Like, I guess maybe that quarry could have also been in the ocean. That would make sense now. Can you explain? Okay, I know we literally just talked about how these stones are like made from coral reef in like the middle of the ocean. And then I kind of look down and I see that this same rock is here. It's literally right here. So this was the bottom of the ocean. This entire Giza Plateau was clearly a part of the bottom of the ocean. So these rocks didn't come from miles and miles away. And they did come from the bottom of the ocean, but this is the bottom of the ocean. It's right here. You can see all the crustaceans. You can see the ancient life forms all over the floor. And it is deep as you can imagine. And then you go to the rocks, and it's the exact same rocks. Look, full of crustaceans. You see? Full of ancient sea life. And then you go over to the wall, and it's the same. Full of crustaceans of ancient sea life. So I guess that kind of solves that mystery. They just got the rocks right fucking here. Oh look, they probably can dig them up right here. You can see like the squares where they're trying to dig. That's so interesting. God, I should be an archaeologist.
And the very first recipe for beer, the very first recipe for beer at the British Museum, that's where it exists, is on a Sumerian tablet. And it says that the great god Anu, they're talking about the Anunnaki and these beings, they bestowed the recipe for beer onto mankind. And they gave us the recipe on how to brew hops or how to, do the hops to make the beer and all that, ferment the hops and all this stuff. It's all on ancient tablets. We didn't invent beer. It was given to us. The knowledge of how to make it was given to mankind. Something you can actually go travel and see that tablet with your own eyes. Crazy stuff. This is why I like this stuff. It's pretty interesting. What we kind of think we know about the ancient past, based on what we learned in school, is not even close to true reality. And to me, could some of this text be, based on the person's own perception who wrote it and etched it? Yeah, of course it is. But I think that the further back you go, the closer you get to real information. You're never going to get 100% of the information because it's people that are making these texts. But when somebody goes through the trouble of using a stylus and a wedge and wet clay and turning it into stone so they can last through the ages, and we're talking about thousands and thousands of years ago, we're getting as close we can, as close as we could possibly get to the actual facts.
My understanding is that cuneiform or cuneiform, however you pronounce it, is the oldest written language there is, so no one's going to lay claim to being the inventor of beer. Hey, if you like this video and you enjoy this kind of content, I make a new one just like it every other day. It'd be awesome if you'd hit that subscribe button and come back to join me.
When I went to Angkor Wat, it's the largest temple complex in the world located in Cambodia. Now look at that moat. This moat, which goes around Angkor Wat, more mass of mud removed to create that moat around Angkor Wat than the Great Pyramid by multitudes.
The moat isn't natural?
No, it's man-made.
If what? Shovels? It would just be hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people.
Yeah. So you don't start a project like this until you already know it's going to work. You're talking about calculus, geology, excavation techniques.
This is how many years ago?
We're talking about something, in my opinion, super ancient. This thing could be 20, 30,000 years old. The thing is littered with hieroglyphs.
Is there any cool stuff in the hieroglyphs?
Well, there you go right there, the dinosaur.
The what?
See that?
Holy
yeah.
shit.
I'm not a religious person, but don't you guys find it weird that Christianity and believing in God is like the taboo or weird thing to do? People can mock Christianity, but God forbid someone attacks like the Muslim religion and everyone will freak out. Even when I see celebrities clearly worshiping like Satan and I point it out and people are just like, oh, it's just art, or oh, it's just a cheap way to get views. Worshiping Satan is? Call me crazy, but no matter what religion you are, even if you're atheist, worshiping Satan, I'm not sure why that's on the top of it's fine list. For some reason, there's a huge stigma between Christianity and worshiping God that people just immediately associate them with like being racist or something crazy. Don't you find it odd that Hollywood or the music industry has no really positive references to God or Christianity? There is blatant Satanism in music videos, and every time someone tries to point it out, they're looked at like they're crazy. Even people in Hollywood, when they spoke out about Satanism in videos, they're looked at like they're crazy by the media. Don't you find that a little suspicious?
Exploded in Indonesia. And this is a big deal, guys. It has caused a big mess, tsunami alerts. And the most important thing is that the amount of smoke and ash going into the atmosphere is probably going to influence the weather over the next few weeks and months. Things like this will get up into the atmosphere and hang around. There's been loads of flights canceled. There's been loads of lava and lightning and crazy stuff. I'm about to show you in a second. Take a look at the lightning that's been coming out of this thing. And there's been a lot of videos. I don't think the tsunami alert ended up being anything dangerous, but the most important thing now is that this is still continuing. Here's the lightning and the lava from last night. And remember, this is still ongoing. And this is still potentially influencing the weather, again, like I said, over the next couple days and weeks. So just in case you thought the weather wasn't extreme enough, well, now it's probably going to get a little bit more extreme. Things like this, they have consequences. And it's almost like I predicted this. Didn't I say a giant volcano would explode? We'll have to check on that. I think I did.
Vatican City is an inspirational place. You don't need to be Catholic or even religious to appreciate the architecture, the art, and the city's historical significance. But there is a place within the Vatican that's rarely seen. Hidden beneath the city is an underground fortress, inaccessible to the public and protected by armed guards and state-of-the-art security. The secret apostolic archives. Within the stone and steel reinforced walls are vaults, climate-controlled rooms, and over 50 miles of shelves. And on those shelves are countless texts, relics, and artifacts collected by the church for over 1,000 years. And one of the most intriguing objects hidden in the archive is called the chronovisor, a device that can view events anywhere and any time in history. And for years, its existence was just a rumor. No proof of the chronovisor was ever found. But a book released by a Vatican priest would change all that. Let's find out why.